What's going on, everyone? This is Ace, and welcome back to The Reckoning. And today, we have a different type of video in light of the Valentine's season. I figured it would be fun just to look over several of the different romances that Lady Death has been involved with over her many years of being published. This isn't all of them per se, but ones that I thought were at least notable. The character is absolutely stunning, so the individuals who have had a chance to be romantic with her are some lucky ones, to say the least. But at the same time, we can't forget the most infamous words from her very first story, Lady Death. To know her is to know a woman cursed. And all of you will probably come to know what that means as we go on with the video. But anyways, so with all of that being said, we will have to find out how lucky these following characters actually are, or did they risk it all? But before we begin, if you like what we do here on The Reckoning, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the bell as well, and give the video a like, as it helps out the channel so much. If you love Lady Death, Evil Ernie, Coffin comics, then share the love and this video, and be on the lookout for more to come. And so now, let's begin. Yeah, not even in his wildest dreams. Sorry guys, just thought I'd put that out here as a joke, but anyways, yeah, let's keep it moving. Okay, so to start this list off for real this time, then I think we should bring up Michael the Archangel. Yes, the one and the same, that defeated and banished Lucifer and his fallen angels from heaven and pushed him through the nexus of all things. He would originally fall for the human persona of Lady Death, the girl named Hope, who at this time was seen as a separate being and personality within Lady Death. She was deemed a kind of innocent and pure soul, all traits for which Michael seemed to be attracted to Hope for, and also the same traits in which Lucifer claimed to select Hope and turn her into a child of darkness, aka Lady Death. Now, despite Lucifer's claims and Michael's attraction, Hope is Lady Death and Lady Death is Hope, one and the same. Michael at first was so overcome with his feelings for Hope that he went through extreme lengths to help her as best he could when she was being hunted by the forces of hell and the Galilean, which were several assassins sent by heaven to take her out, as they had predicted she could be trouble for the overall outcome of the judgment war between the forces of heaven and hell. Michael, taken so strongly by his feelings, would speak with the horsemen of the apocalypse, begging their help in the only way he saw that could save Hope's life against heaven's assassins. Essentially, he asked for the scythe of death. For you see, at this point in the story, Hope and Lady Death had been separated into two different beings by Leviathan, the diabolical chaos lord, and first love and wife of Lucifer. Hope, as a mortal girl, once again was to die in hell, but due to her strong desire to live and fight, and combined with her powerful sword named Nightmare, she has prevailed so far and survived. But now, going against the heavenly assassins, Michael believes this is the only way to which she will walk away from this predicament, by taking the scythe of death and becoming Lady Death once more. This, however, would indebt her to the horsemen, and when the time of the apocalypse came, she would be expected to ride with them. This action would deem Michael as treacherous to heaven's plans, and his allegiance questioned. He would eventually go mad and travel to the cosmos, begging God to tear the feeling of desire for Lady Death from him. He would eventually be turned into a mortal and sent burning down to earth to work through his desire for Hope, until he would be granted his angel status again and asked to become the sword of God once more, as the judgment war against the forces of hell would begin. Fun fact, there was a moment in Lady Death's story where she apparently has several stands, including Michael, within heaven, as several of the angels had a collection of her figures, statues, posters, and even Michael, when coming to pay them a visit, is seen sitting amongst the merchandise and items, meditating by candlelight. The scene does look pretty ridiculous, but hey, who can blame him? The angels, afraid of what he might do, said that the purpose of their collection was that they were gathering it so that they could destroy it. But unsurprisingly, Michael stated to not even think of destroying the collection. And just one other interesting fact is, it should be noted that in the current stories of Lady Death, in case any of you guys are reading along, or if you happen to pick up a more recent issue, Michael is actually in a relationship with Lady Death's sister, the Valkyrie known as Valnavia. It should also be noted that this wouldn't be the only time that Michael expressed his love and affection for Lady Death, but perhaps that is a story for another time. Up next we have Nicolo. Now, this was the boyfriend of Hope. He was the love interest to Lady Death before she renounced her humanity, and when she was still just a girl named Hope living in medieval times. He was an educated man who would be sent away periodically to university at the time to study medicine and other such matters. However, he was aware enough to recognize that the area and the time he lived in was still very much reliant on purely religion, a very dark, ignorant, and superstitious time where straying away from the faith of the majority was met with rejection and even could lead to harm. I bring this up because unfortunately for Nicolo, this observant approach would lead him to not continue his studies abroad, where he learned things such as a more efficient methods to cure the Black Plague, which had been spreading throughout Europe at this time. I say unfortunate because with him sticking around, he was forcefully drafted to war by Hope's very own father, who was the leader of this town named Matthias, a demon king, a cunning, vile man hell-bent on war and death. While he would bring back riches and proclaim that his efforts are what kept the kingdom safe, the townspeople grew more and more weary of his constant wars. The people were also filled with such grief as they had to keep enduring the loss of their husbands, sons, brothers, etc. And now even Hope would endure this feeling of loss as Matthias returned once again from battle, but Nicolo was nowhere to be seen. Hope cried to her father about where he was, and the cold monster slapped her down to the ground, proclaiming that he was useless and on the battlefield was the very first to die. Hope would be filled with despair as her first love was taken from her. Now eons later, after Hope had become Lady Death and she had defeated Lucifer, and started her mission of Megadeth with her adversary Evil Ernie back on Earth. She would be traveling throughout hell trying to find her mother's soul, which Lucifer had captured long ago. Lady Death's hope is to free her mother's soul from the realm and bring her to heaven. Now along this journey, she would run into her old lover Nicolo, but it would be a tragic reunion as he had changed. No longer the kind and intelligent soul, perhaps Lucifer's darkness had tainted him, as now he had been engulfed in dark magic and sorcery, and obsessed with the nexus of all things. Which, for those of you that don't know, is essentially a powerful gateway connecting realms and universes alike. Nicolo wishes to use it for his own gain, but first attacks Lady Death because she has Lucifer's power. He mocks her, saying that she was so weak as her human self hoped, and she was always content to be the victim. He pitied her at first, but then felt she deserved it. Just when it seemed he had the upper hand, Lady Death would show him what happens when you show her disrespect. She blasts the fool to the wall and then launches her sword, Darkness, at him. She then causes his heart to begin pulsating vigorously until finally he smiles and states, "As for the matters of the heart, my dear Nicolo, you don't have one." Now, we definitely cannot forget Ravenheart, aka the Heavenly Angel of Death, who later would become the Dark Knight, who has Death's touch. Regardless, this warrior would be in and out of Lady Death's life, and while in battle against the armies of hell and trying to regain control after Lucifer's absence, Ravenheart would once again show up into Lady Death's life, but this time, something was different. Perhaps it was because they hadn't seen each other for years, or perhaps the heat of battle had stirred both their blood. Whatever the reason, old feelings rekindled, and passion would ensue. The feelings were so intense, and perhaps there was a moment where both, tired of fighting and tired of being alone, for one reason or another, a decision was made, and Lady Death's life would be changed forever from this point on, as she and Ravenheart, the ex-angel of death, would remain together and become parents to twins, a boy and a girl. They both were the death incarnate, but now welcome a feeling that they had not felt for so long, happiness. Unfortunately, this happiness wouldn't last long, as Leviathan would conjure an elaborate plan to break Lady Death to the very core and increase her suffering tenfold. Lady Death's family and happiness would be attacked, causing the death of Ravenheart and the abduction of Lady Death's children. Lady Death, following the trail to rescue them, would come to see their fate as both of her children had seemingly been burned to death at the Tower of Legion. There, a trap was set for her. Ultimately, Lady Death would fight her way through this horrific time and bring her face to face with Leviathan. And this would be the last battle before being put into her decade-long slumber by none other than Seance, Hell's Mage. While this is a very sad tale, I will let you all know that Lady Death's children actually were alive, as Seance, for whatever reason, seemed to rescue them unbeknownst to Leviathan. And as adults, they would come to re-enter into Lady Death's life, and they are currently trying to rebuild their relationship as a family. Okay, and finally that brings us to Evil Ernie. Come on, you guys. Here at The Reckoning, this is our favorite diabolical match made in both heaven and hell. This is the relationship that would start everything, and I don't mean necessarily in the time sequence of things, like within the story, or the characters of Lady Death and Evil Ernie, but I mean it would literally be the beginning of Chaos Comics. It's where their story began. Two souls alone in their existence, left to their predicaments, and with a desire to strike back. Their bond was so strong that not even being separated into different planes of existence could stop their love. Separated by different time periods, maybe it was Ernie's innocence and struggle that reminded Lady Death of herself. And for Ernie, she is the only woman to offer affection and love, at least before going insane. Their relationship would at first come from a place of just simply understanding one another, knowing what it's like to be dealt cruelty, even from those who you would consider family. Their will and desire, along with some supernatural elements sprinkled in, would allow these two to be them against the world, and heaven and hell alike. As their love grew for each other, they would work tirelessly to one day be reunited. A fairy tale ending for two souls who probably deserve it. But unfortunately, if that ending were to ever pass, it would be a nightmare for all of us, as Megadeth would arrive on our doorstep. And that will do it for today, you guys. Covering the more serious relationships that Lady Death had been involved in over the years. Now, I will mention as always that I've only covered the Chaos and Coffin comic eras. So we may have a part 2 in the future once I dive more deeply into the Avatar / Boundless, maybe even medieval Lady Death comic series that are out there. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Unfortunately for our character Lady Death, she is able to find moments of love and happiness, but as you can probably tell by the glimpse into her life, these moments don't last long, and things don't seem to turn out very well for her, and especially those who fall for her. I think this might be just one of the many reasons, like I stated at the beginning of this video, and that is also stated at the beginning of her very own story. To know her is to know a woman cursed. Steamy, remote, elegant. She is the queen of all that is dead and dying, the incomparable, unforgettable Lady Death. And I just want to say thank you guys so much again for watching and for checking out the video. And yeah, I guess until next time, guys, take care.